Hey, Doug Giles here with Warriors and Wildmen podcast. Good God Almighty, it's Rich Whitmer.
Doug, what's happening, man? Doesn't seem like I've seen your beautiful face in a dog's age.
Well, you're about to get about an hour of it right now, man. We're going to record a couple of shows. Rich, I'm sitting in the glorious outdoors. Man, I think it's like 65 degrees. Freaking perfect cigar smoking weather. And that's a shame because you definitely dig the cigar. And I know that the poor little Christianettes who eat, 2 chicken fried steaks don't like the fact that you and I enjoy the cigar. But we do. It's beautiful weather. I got to get my butt over to Arizona and to enjoy that balcony and for us to talk about global domination. But today, Rich, there's a bee in your bonnet. Oh my God, you sent me like a flurry of like 50 emails. Somebody has pissed you off. Bring the Warrior and Wildmen listener to speed. What is going down in Rich's funky town?
Well, I'm pretty fired up about Halloween. That's what I'm fired up about because Christians are acting weird.
Now you guys have a big and have had a big Halloween event.
Oh, bro,
that's led a bunch of teenagers to Christ, and they've dumped their drugs and boinking, their girlfriends and doing whatever stupid crap, and it's all been in the context of Halloween. But you're the devil for having a Halloween party, right?
That's right. And what we do is we build a massive haunted house. I mean, just one section of the maze of the haunted house is over 5,000 square feet. And then that's before it goes inside, downstairs, around the thing, vortex tunnel.
That's awesome.
We will scare you. And people are like, oh, does it have a message? Yeah, don't go to hell. That's the message. And the haunted house is just scary as hell. It will scare the hell out of you. It's legitimately scary. Right. It's not like a little church. And here's our deal. So on Halloween night, we have the haunted house. People can come. The night before Halloween, they can come. It's like $2 a person or something, right? So they go through this awesome haunted house. But here's the kicker. On Friday night, this is on the 22nd or 27th, I think it is. Always the Friday night before Halloween, we have a big youth revolution event. And during that event, we focus on heaven and hell and where you're going to spend eternity. And to go to the haunted house, the youth have to come to the service. So they come to the service. We have a great service. It's fun, too. It's awesome. And then we have an altar call. We give them a chance to know Jesus. And we have between 750 and 1,000. We've had over 1,000 young people come and sit through the service. And these are unchurched kids. These are not church kids, right?
Right.
And they come and they give their life to Jesus. It's awesome, man. And then we send them through the haunted house and they have a great time. So they get to preview it before it's available, and it's free when they're there. And so that's the draw to get the kids in. And that is the exact reason why we do it.
Well, shame on you, Rich, for reaching out to the kids in a culturally relevant manner and trying to rescue them from Dante's Easy Bake and from the current crap that they're embroiled in right now. So tell me, you said you're getting some heat from some dorks. I don't know if it's via social media. I don't know if it's some shit, that competing churches, and all the garbage that they do for the few scraggly sheep, that are around their dilapidated storefront church. What kind of heat are you getting?
Well, like one year I had a lady come up to me and say, part of the haunted house is in the back of the sanctuary. I said, yeah. She said, my family and I are leaving the church. And I said,
adios, lady.
I said, okay, bye.
Yeah.
So we get that, and then we get
does this chick, Rich, sorry to interrupt you, does this girl know that the quote unquote sanctuary is just brick and mortar, and it's a frickin' building that houses the church, which is people.
And the people are the real sanctuary, right? Hey, and worse than that, Doug, we don't even have brick and mortar. We got steel and metal sheeting. It's a metal building, you know what I'm saying? We got some sheetrock and got some comfy chairs because I heard the preacher there preaches all day. But the reality is, people love to say that. They're like, well, the building is not the church. It's like, but then when they freak out, then all of a sudden the building is the church, right? And so the thing is, hey, we can celebrate, we're not celebrating Halloween, we're using it as a tool. We're using Halloween as a tool.
Kind of like Martin Luther used to use German beer songs and craft his amazing hymns like A Mighty Fortress Is Our God around a song that all the drunken Teutonic cousins of ours could get into and dig.
So
right?
they would like it. Yeah,
So let
because
me ask you,
it's the sound of a generation. What makes a song worship? Not the music. It's the words. So the sound, the music needs to be the sound of a generation.
So let me ask you this question, because obviously, I've never seen you hit me with a flurry of emails like you did this topic. Obviously, it gets your dander up. I'd like to talk about not so much the Halloween issue, even though it's part and parcel of getting your dander up. I know it's something that caused me to frickin' just get out of the ministry. God forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I come pretty damn close to hating Christians who focus on minutia.
Yep.
While in the meantime, there's these gargantuan frickin' issues that are jackhammering not only our states but our nation and our planet, and they get wrapped around the frickin' axle about stupid stuff like Halloween or or other, again, inane type things, which are, like you said, being utilized to do the Great Commission, and yet they're, bitching about the actual medium or tool that's being used.
That's right.
Those kind of people, I don't even get. I don't even want to be around. I don't want them anywhere in close proximity to me because they are small people. They don't understand grand pictures. And man, I'm telling you, big dog, keep plowing forward. To hell with them. Let them leave left and right. Because you know what's interesting? And Christ would say to hell with them. I think he did in Matthew 23 to the pompous, self-righteous asses who completely denigrated his means and methods to reach people who wouldn't ever darken the doorway to a temple or first century religious event. But oh my God, they flocked to that rebel from Galilee. How do you deal with it, man? Well, is that the deeper issue in this?
Well, I think it is a lot of the issue because sometimes we forget things like being culturally relevant, and we're going to rip all over that in just a second. I was in Thailand, and I'm not digressing, by the way. I was in Thailand, and I was with some pastors there, and I said, hey, we're in Thailand. We're in Bangkok. The most famous Muay Thai stadium is right here in Bangkok. Let's go watch some fights. And
we can't. That's the devil.
They said, we can't do that because Christians don't go to fights. I said, hold on.
Says who?
Are you aware that your national sport is Muay Thai? And the pastor said,
have you ever heard of Crusades?
Yeah, the pastor says, well, yeah. I mean, when I was a little boy, I trained in Muay Thai. Check this out. Every Thai boy's dream is to fight in the stadium in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And I said, but somehow the Christians have removed themselves from the national sport. I said, that doesn't make any sense. And I said, I'm going, so here's the deal. So anyway, they got tickets, VIP, it was awesome. We were right there in the front. You could smell the Tiger Balm when you came in. I told them it's really not going to be that bad. They brought their wives. It was awesome. While we were walking in, a dude got kicked in the face and knocked unconscious. And I was like jumping up and down, screaming. And then I looked at him. It's usually not that bad. So anyway, okay. So we take that and we go to the U.S.
Who else is going to pray for them if Christians are not there and they get, knocked unconscious with a, spinning back kick or something?
Yeah, or an elbow to the dome, right? So check this out.
That's where Christ would be.
So you don't want to become irrelevant. And look, you're not compromising your faith by attending a sporting event. You know what I mean? You can go watch some kickboxing. So what? So here's the deal. A lot of people don't realize this. This is going to blow your mind, I think. After Christmas, the number one holiday in the United States is Halloween. $6 billion is spent on Halloween annually in the U.S.
We need to get in the Halloween costume.
Dude, we need to get in the Halloween business. I'm going to tell you right now. But check this. This is what's interesting to me, Doug. Christians are pulling back from this thing, and we'll get into all this, but they want to have we're going to have a harvest festival instead. Are you aware of the origins of the harvest festival? Pagans. worshiping their pagan gods,
some kind
trying
of
to get the
druid
crops
stuff,
to grow.
right?
Yeah, that's right. So Harvest Festival is the same thing, and it's like, well, I don't believe in that. It's you're trying to mix the profane with the holy, and it's not good. Good, take off your wedding ring, because that started in pagan rituals. You know what? Get rid of Valentine's Day. That's a pagan ritual. Get rid of half the stuff that you do in your wedding. You know,
Right.
something borrowed, something new, something old, something blue, something. That's all pagan rituals. All the crap that these people do are pagan rituals, and then they say, I draw the line at Halloween.
I wonder if they celebrate Easter with Easter egg hunts for the kiddos.
Because we have to worship the god Esther, the fertility god. We got to break out the eggs, and then we got to worship the Easter bunny, because that's a fertility god, because he's humping everything, right? And then, what about Christmas? The Holy Grail, man. That's it. It's all about Christmas, right? Except Jesus wasn't born in December. There's not a scholar alive that thinks he was born in December.
Right.
But we syncretize that with the winter solstice and the shortest day of the year that they celebrated by putting candles on trees to try to get the sun to light back up. And sure enough, it worked, because according to the calendar, that was the shortest day of the year. So they did it on that day, and it worked. But then we have Christmas trees.
So you're saying essentially, just like everything in the evangelical world, is that it's selective outrage. Them homosexuals are evil, man. Rich and Doug over there smoking them cigars and having a little adult beverage like that Macallan 12-year-old scotch. That's of the devil, man. In the meantime, they're boinking Rhonda, the church secretary, back in the broom closet. And old Punch Gut, he's 400 pounds overweight and eats 3 chicken fried steaks and chili cheese fries.
That's right.
But according
drinking 17 Diet Cokes with it.
But according to him, well, Jesus is okay with that. But all that other stuff in that lingerie football league, that's of the devil, Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, but that's what it is. My problem is the lack of consistency. Now, look, let me throw this out there. I have been a legalist.
Here's my problem, Rich, and it's not that it's trumping your problem. I'm just like, guys, really? Do you really care that much about stuff that is cosmically inconsequential that you get wrapped around the act? Let Rich do his thing, man. If it ain't your thing, then ST blank shut the front door and do your thing.
That's it.
We got Christians being slaughtered in Mosul.
Yeah.
We've got nearly the whole Coptic branch of Christianity being expunged from the planet.
Yeah.
And you're worried about Freddy Krueger Halloween mask being worn by a kid who just heard the gospel and asked Christ in his life.
Yeah.
You're a stupid, unfocused, silly woman or a dorky dude.
Doug, just like the Bible says, they're straining at gnats and swallowing camels.
Yeah.
They're straining at these little things, but they're swallowing heresy left and right. And that's the whole issue. I used to be a complete legalist. When I got saved, I thought holiness equaled legalism. So I didn't believe in Christmas trees. I didn't believe in Santa Claus. I didn't believe in any of those things.
You were a fundamentalist. No fun, mostly dumb, and quite mental, right?
Absolutely. And as bad as they get, I was worse. I was mean as hell, right? And so I couldn't believe why no one wanted to come to church with me. It's like, because you're a butthole, that's why. So my kids, no Santa Claus, no Christmas trees, no nothing, because that was all this and crazy stuff. And you know what I realized one day?
I'm an asshole.
No one, I've never even heard of anyone worshiping a Christmas tree at their house.
You know why we don't?
I never even heard of it.
You know why we don't have a Christmas tree at our house?
Why?
I don't want to jack with it. I don't want to put it up. I don't want it to catch fire and burn down all my taxidermy. And I know that thing's going to be dead, and I'm going to have to be dragging that stupid thing to the curb. Mm-hmm. So we'll do a little trimmings around the fireplace and some what do you call that stuff? Not mistletoe. What's the red poinsettias?
Oh,
so
poinsettias,
we'll put the poinsettias all around. But yeah, Christmas trees, man. I'm just looking at that thing's like that thing's going to catch fire. Like at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's gonna burn my 58-inch kudu. It's gonna spread from there, start taking out the eland, all the other crap. So it was kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
It's a hassle.
Yeah, it's a hassle, and it's a fire hazard, and can't touch my trophies, man.
Hey, man, we decorated a Christmas tree one time, and we got finished. It was like a big family thing, and I was laying on the floor. It's probably 7th grade, laying on the floor on my stomach watching TV, and I see this flash of light, and I look up, and the whole tree fell right on top of me because we only decorated the front.
See there?
Safety hazard.
Hey, aside from the evangelical little twaddles who are making a molehill out of what is it? Yeah, making a mountain.
Out of a molehill.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that.
Another thing about Halloween that's really getting my dander up is the political correctness.
Oh, come on.
That has now entered the fray in regards to like costumes and stuff you don't wear. I don't follow it. I'm kind of impervious to Halloween. The thing that I don't like about Halloween is these little socialists learning that all they have to do is frickin' ring my doorbell or knock on it and they get free crap. It's like, hey, why don't you mow my yard over there or weed eat around the culvert and stuff right by, our ditch out in the front where the water drains off, and then I'll give you a Snickers. How's that?
There you go.
But anyway, the thing that's benumbing to me, that's also stupidity on steroids, is that if you're a white person, well, first of all, if you're white and if you're a Christian and you're a conservative, well, then you're the Antichrist to our culture.
You are the devil.
You are the bottom rung of the ladder, and you can't appropriate any other kind of cultural clothing or any kind of character from a Disney movie or a Pixar that happens to have more melanin content than what's currently coursing through your pigmentation, or you're a racist.
Yep, that's right.
And it's cultural appropriation. And here's my problem, is not only have self-righteous evangelicals made church suck, but radical leftists that are high on political correctness, they are making everything in our culture one racist, big frickin' deal that heretofore guys our age and people a little younger, we frickin' rolled with it. What if it's an homage to their culture? What if it's, hey, we really like this person who's got a different skin color than us, and we'd like to play him? We're not down or browbeating anybody. We're not being condescending upon them. Well, that's what
I was going to say, Doug. Check this out. There's only 2 reasons. Well, there's maybe a couple other, but 2 main reasons why you wear a Halloween costume. One is because it's something you like and you think is cool, or 2, you think it's something funny that you're making fun of. And then, of course, you have very different things. But those are the 2 main things why a kid would wear something. Now, check it out. When we were growing up, I've dressed as an Indian. My friends dressed as an Indian before. Nobody dressed as an Indian to make fun of them. They dress as it because it's cool. That's the whole reason. And you know what? Inevitably, somebody is dressed up as a cowboy. What? A cowboy and an Indian? People dress up as stuff that they think is cool. Now, if you're making fun of something, that's different. But some things are funny. Like I went... Well, I shouldn't probably say this on Warriors and Wildmen, but I'm going to say it. When I was younger and I wasn't a Christian, I went as a hooker. I showed up in a skirt and fishnet stockings and wig and makeup and everything. And I can tell you, Doug,
I got to watch The Lion King to get that shit out of my mind.
If people are not looking at my face right now, I can tell you I am a hideous woman, right? So I showed up, and my friends, they didn't even laugh, Doug. They go, no. That's wrong. Go change right now. I said, not happening, baby. I'm here all night. So obviously it was very disturbing.
I bet you look like a Rosie's spirit twin when you're in drag.
Man, I was looking very masculine.
What'd you do with the 5 o'clock shadow, man?
I didn't have one at that time. I couldn't even beg a whisker to come out of my face.
The last Halloween get together I did was back in college. That's how freaking few and far between they've been. And I had no idea what my girlfriend was going to go as, but she said, I want you to bring some of your Sharpies because I want you to do some tattoos on me, prior to leaving. Yeah. So I rock up at her dorm room, and she's wearing, she must have gotten a hold of the same Halloween costume. Where'd you go, Frederick's of Hollywood or something like that?
I don't know. I think I just ripped off some stuff from my cousins.
She was dressed up as a hooker, and this is like, right after I got converted, and I'll put it this way, Rich. It was a difficult night for me from a fleshly standpoint, maintaining my sanctification. And she wanted me to draw tattoos on her, and she's got the fishnet, and the stripper heels, and the mini skirt. And I'm like, hey, you're not really helping me follow.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow
Jesus
the Lord,
right
and
now.
This is not helping me at all.
Yeah. And then the next year it was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and it's like, man, maybe you and I should go our separate ways.
Yeah, we're going in opposite directions here.
Yeah.
You should have came as a Catholic monk. But check this out. So think about the stuff with the kids, right? Halloween's for the kids, and later, actually, you know what I'll do is I'll post some of these articles on the Warriors and Wildmen website. So if you're hearing this and you want to read a couple of these articles, one of them I highlighted. We'll give them credit. You can go read it. But it's really good stuff on the history. But what happened is we started moving away from the spiritual aspects of Halloween and its Druid worship and all these Celtic and all this stuff, whatever. And we started moving it. People started realizing, hey, this is a great opportunity for communities to get together, right? And so that's what it became. And they started doing community events, but then doing more local house parties and church events and things like that in schools, spread it out. And so it was a cheap way, and this is kind of cool. It's a cheap way that everyone could get involved and celebrate in the community together. So it was pretty cool. It became a community event. Well, now we see that these kids, they all want to go run around and have fun and get candy, and that's cool, whatever. And so, you know, like for our church on Halloween night, we are setting up a bunch of cars that are going to be decorated all around the parking lot. And we're going to have some jumpers out there for the kids and face painting and some games and stuff. And obviously, we're going to
Shame on you, Rich.
We're going to have taco trucks, which redeems the day. So we're going to have tables out there and chairs. And inside's going to be, you know, the haunted house for the older kids and the adults. But we're just doing a thing for everybody to come and have a good time. Now, check this out. People say that's the devil's day. Devil don't have a day. There's no day that belongs to the devil. He never created a day. All he did is try to mess up any day. The Bible says, this is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Devil don't get a day. He don't get my attention. We're going to dress up and celebrate Jesus, get people saved, have fun with the kids. Families are going to have a good time, and it's going to be awesome. How about that?
Good. Screw anybody who's got a problem with it, man. You know, again, typical stuff like constant carping about things that they don't like and they don't understand. And again, you guys aren't just having, you know, let's have a sexy Halloween thing and tempt and tease each other. It's like, let's gear this towards, again, scaring the crap out of the kids. Because nobody talks about hell. Nobody talks about, you know, brimstone and sulfur and raggedy clothes and stalactites and stalagmites. And nobody presses, you know, the memento mori towards the young kiddos because it's just too much for their sensitive psyche. But I think to utilize that holiday for evangelistic appeal for young kids that are getting completely, you know, blown off and steamrolled by the powers of darkness, I think it's great. And I think they should have the fear of God put in them. I believe Santo Pablo said the fear of God is what converted him. I believe Jeremiah said that before you become an heir of the covenant, you usually get injected with a mega dose of fear. So, you know, not a lot of churches talk about hell nowadays. It's more,
and it also says
potential.
And save some as though you're pulling them from the fire. You know, that's the reality.
Yeah, and the whole, you know, we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ.
That's pretty scary.
It's appointed to men to die, and then judgment. You know, Hebrews 9:26. Yeah, let that. That's, to me, that's more scary than some dude in a Halloween mask with a machete.
Hey, you know what I preached at the Revolution for the haunted house last year? I preached about hell. But I didn't want it. Check it out. I didn't preach it from a typical like fire and brimstone message. It was called Hell, 10 Reasons I'm Glad I'm Not Going. And so I showed that video. You remember that video, the old black Pentecostal guy singing Hell No? Have you seen that video?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. It's great. But we use that video, and then I would preach a point about what hell's like. And I'd say, man, I'm glad I'm not going. And I say, how many people here are glad you're not going to hell? People raise their hand. I say, everybody say hell no, and they would sing that. And we go to the next point. Well, by the time you're done, everybody's agreeing. Ain't nobody want to go to hell. And I tell them, well, this is what's being offered. This is heaven. Who wants to go to hell? Stay where you're at. Who wants to go to heaven? Get on up here. So guess who we're having as a guest speaker this year? Friday night.
I don't want to go to the mall, much less hell.
Hey, I hear you. Listen to the guy we have. It's called Back from the Dead this year. You know why? We have a guy named Dr. Isaiah Reed. He's a black guy from New York. He was a drug dealer. He was in the car with Colombian drug dealers doing the deal, and they stabbed him 16 times and shot him in the head twice. Threw him out on the side
God.
of the road. Went to the hospital. Died.
He's like 50 Cent or something, isn't he?
Dude, oh no, this is beyond that. This dude died. And he got raised from the dead. And people are like, oh yeah, they probably, the paddles. No, Doug, you know when he got raised from the dead?
60 minutes later.
During the autopsy.
Yes.
Doug, they had to take him into surgery to save his life because they already started the autopsy. This guy, Doug, he pulled up his shirt, showed me an autopsy scar, and he goes, Rich, how many living people do you know with one of these? I was like, whoa. But here's his testimony. When he died, he didn't go to heaven and see the bright lights. He went to hell. And he's preaching at the youth Friday night at the haunted house. And he's going to be kicking tires and lighting fires, man.
He's got to show the scar, man. He's got to show the scar.
Final thoughts, Halloween. These are my thoughts. Of course, we want to avoid evil. I don't know anybody on Halloween today in America that's worshiping the devil at Halloween. Now, I'm sure there's some weirdos out there. I just haven't met any of them. The kids and the families that I know that are going around trick-or-treating, they're just having a good time. It's a family time. It's a community time. Churches that get involved in it, you want to have a harvest festival. You call it whatever you want. I'm good with that. I don't care. Have fun. Bring the communities together. Instead of giving a day to the devil and acknowledging the devil, let's go celebrate how good God is. Let's bring people together. Let's have a good time. And you know what, on your costumes, wear a costume of somebody that you think is awesome. And if people find it offensive, take that as an opportunity to tell them why it's not offensive. You know what I mean? Let's celebrate. Let's just celebrate being together. If we're not worshiping the devil, let's just have a good time. Let's get some candy. Let's get some people saved.
Yeah, my final thoughts, Christian, if this is your big issue, if you're getting wrapped around the axle over a positive meeting that's trying to put the fear of God in some kids and drag their on-toward backside into Christ's fold, then, man, you really need to step back and, see the forest for the instead of focusing on the trees.
Yeah.
And become a big issue person, Pray about the serious stuff that's going down. And let the positive things that Rich and others are doing in utilizing this occasion to reach out to people, let them alone. Let them do their thing, numbnuts. Rich, what does the Warrior and Wildmen listener need to do?
They need to go to the Warriors and Wildmen podcast. They need to subscribe. Then they need to review it. If it's awesome, tell us, because sometimes we don't think it is, but we'd like to hear from you that it is. If you think it sucks, well, I guess you can leave that too. I don't know. But write it on there. And then go to the Facebook page, Warriors and Wildmen. Follow it, like it, leave a comment. We'd love to interact with you guys on there. And that'll do it.